I meant to do this video a few days ago, but I finally started doing up my other house, so I'm rushing around like a blue-ass fly, so bear with me. Anyway, first things first, what happened in Paris was an absolute nightmare. A true living nightmare. But if we are to stop these kinds of attacks, then we have to have a grown-up conversation about why this is happening. Farage says West bears some culpability for Paris massacres because of foreign wars and mass immigration. Nigel Farage risks sparking fresh outrage today after claiming European governments bore some culpability for the Paris massacres. The UKIP leader blamed Western foreign policy and mass immigration for much of what has happened. His remarks come after he was attacked by David Cameron, Ed Miliband and Nick Clegg for claiming there was a fifth column in Britain. How many times have we been told that extremists have travelled to Syria and are now returning to the UK and are planning attacks here? We had this article only a day or so ago. Up to 5,000 terrorists could return to EU. Up to 5,000 potential terrorists could return to Europe from countries such as Syria, the director of Europol has warned. Rob Wainwright told MPs that between 3,000 and 5,000 European Union nationals have travelled overseas and could pose a threat to their home countries if they returned. Well, if they return, wouldn't that categorise these people as a fifth column? Aren't these people looking to undermine the larger group, i.e. the nation, from within? They fit the bill perfectly. This is why, last November, all the talk from Cameron was to ban these people from returning to the UK. Powers to stop British jihadists returning to UK, PM. British jihadists who travel abroad to fight could be prevented from returning under new powers outlined by the PM. David Cameron said the special exclusion orders, which could last for 2 years or more, could bar suspected fighters from entering the UK unless they agreed to strict controls. Officials would have the power to stop would-be jihadists leaving the UK. By the way, the government won't ban anyone from exiting the UK to go to Syria, and the government won't ban anyone coming from Syria to the UK, because terror attacks in the UK is just what the government wants. So Farage is right to suggest what he did and that there's a fifth column in Britain, surely. And if you need any more confirmation that he is on point and he's on target, then look at this again from the above article. His remarks come after he was attacked by David Cameron, Ed Miliband and Nick Clegg for claiming there was a fifth column in Britain. If Cameron, Clegg and Miliband all disagree with you and attack you, then you must have done something right. Credit where credit's due. Now, on the 12th of January, Cameron came out and told us how he was going to react to the Paris attacks. It wasn't a tough guess. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist to work it out. Anyone who's only half paying attention would have been able to have forecast what he said. Spies should be able to monitor all online messaging, says David Cameron. The security services will be given the powers to read all messages sent over the internet if the Conservatives win the general election. David Cameron, the Prime Minister, made the pledge at a campaign event attended by up to 100 Conservative activists in Nottingham. The police and the intelligence agencies have expressed concerns that they are not able to access the content of some of the new ways to communicate over the internet. The Prime Minister, who on Monday morning chaired a meeting of the security services to discuss lessons that be learned from last week's terror attacks on Paris, said a Tory government would pass a law in the next Parliament to ensure that the police and the security services read internet messages. Britain will descend into vigilantism unless security measures are stepped up, former MI5 boss warns. Britain will descend into vigilantism unless security measures are stepped up to counter the vulnerability and fear that people feel in the wake of the Charlie Hebdo attacks, the former head of MI5 has warned. Baron Evans of Weardale, who, as Jonathan Evans, work that one out, worked for the security services for 33 years, also warned that the world faced a build-up of trained terrorists. That's because they've got so much cash given to them by America and NATO. A build-up of terrorists not seen since al-qaeda ran training camps in Afghanistan before 9/11. Ah, I see. The penny's beginning to drop. So, now that the Paris attack has happened, we all must hand over every single bit of internet freedom to the security services so that they can protect us and keep us free. Orwell, anyone? Anyone at all? Bit of Orwell? Bit of 1984? Bit of doublespeak? What do you think? We need to lock you up so you're safe. We need to kill you to protect you. Remember, the security services that will have access to everything you do online will obviously include MI5, who'll no doubt probably be the main party involved. MI5 is currently head up by a squat little fat man called Andrew Nosy Parker. A man that I wouldn't trust to look after my rabbit. I mean, look at him. He's got that Tony Blair smirk. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could spit, or piss on him if he was on fire. But do you remember a little while ago it came out that Ken Livingstone, on one of his radio shows, admitted that he knew that MI5, the very same MI5 that Cameron wants to have access to everything you do online, well, they were filming kids being abused in a care home, and MI5 were filming this in the hope of catching Irish politicians doing the abusing so that they could blackmail them. Anyone remember that? That was MI5.
And I mean, I remember I was raising in Parliament against Mrs Thatcher the Kincora Boys' Home, where boys were being abused, and MI5 was filming it because they were hoping to be able to blackmail senior politicians in Northern Ireland. They were hoping to catch one of Ian Paisley's MPs, and they never did, and give themselves some leverage. So the truth is there's been an awful lot of covering up of paedophiles and paedophile rings for decades and decades.
It's also the same MI5 that offered one of Lee Rigby's killers a job. But it wasn't MI5 that helped Harun Rashid Aswat, the alleged 7/7 leader, escape after 7/7. No, that wasn't MI5, that was MI6.
Harun Rashid Aswat.
Who they picked up. Yeah.
Aswat is believed to be the mastermind of all the bombings in London.
On the 7/7 and 7/21, this is the guy, we think.
This is the guy, and what's really embarrassing is that the entire British police are out chasing him, and one wing of the British government, MI6, or the British Secret Service, has been hiding him.
MI5 chief says 34 UK terror plots disrupted since 7/7 attacks. 34 terror plots targeted against the UK have been disrupted by the security services and police in the last 8 years, the Director General of MI5 has told the Intelligence and Security Committee. Andrew Nosy Parker told MPs that since the 7/7 attacks in London in 2005, active detection and intervention by counter-terrorism agents and police officers had foiled 1 or 2 terror attacks a year, which were aimed at creating mass casualties. They were among 34 plots that have been disrupted since the London bombings. But of course we can't find out any details of these plots because national security. And the people they arrested, I'm sure, were useful idiots, probably paid patsies. But again, we can't find out because national security. We've also started having secret trials because we live in such a free country because of national security. Can't you just smell the freedom? It's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's freedom. Maybe not. Oh, and I forgot this article. Anti-terror plan to spy on toddlers is heavy-handed. No fucking shit. Nursery school staff and registered childminders must report toddlers, that's like up to 3 years old, toddlers at risk of becoming terrorists under counter-terrorism measures proposed by the government. The directive is contained in a 39-page consultation document issued by the Home Office in a bid to bolster its Prevent Anti-Terrorism plan. We must do it. Our toddlers are terrorists. All of them. Lock them up. Watch them. Report them. We live in such a free country. Take all our internet security. Take all our internet freedom. I just want to be safe from the very terrorists that Cameron supports. You could say that Cameron is only trying to protect us from these horrible people. To this, I would say, bollocks. Cameron knows that via NATO, he, and especially the worst president America has ever seen, Barry Soetoro, or Barack Obama, whatever he calls himself nowadays, they've funded, they've armed, and they've trained al-qaeda, now called ISIS, for fucking years. Remember the vote at the end of August 2013 to attack Syria and to support the rebels that Cameron lost by 13 votes? Well, had he won that vote, we, the UK, would have been supporting the rebels in Syria. Those rebels are ISIS. We would have become ISIS's, if there is such a word, Air Force. We would have become their military support. ISIS would have been our allies attacking Assad. Because the rebels that Cameron wanted to support so much are ISIS. Mark my words, if Cameron and the establishment don't get the internet monitoring legislation through that they want, then watch out, because we will have at least a couple of attacks over here, and then the general public will cry out to have everything they do monitored, given to MI5, the child abusing filming, the child abusing covering up MI5. They will want everything to go to the security services to keep us safe. The government can and will not save you. Just do some research on how many people governments kill every year. It's hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Governments will not save you.